No preamble. No intro theme. Just a scream. It cut into every screen in outspace, hijacking networks from Jupiter's mining drones to Old Soul Street ads. Military, civilian, diplomatic, everything went black for half a second, then lit up with hell. For humans. Tied. Bleeding. Stripped of gear and dignity. Hanging in the center of a cold black chamber. No walls, just void. You could hear the bindings hiss every time they moved. The restraints were coiled in thermoreactive filaments. The more they struggled, the hotter they burned. One was upside down, shivering. One had her hands nailed to the ground by obsidian pins that pulsed like arteries. The youngest, barely mid-20s, stared straight ahead. Face like stone. Above them, a throne of broken tech and charred bones. And seated on it, the Lord. 10 feet tall. Wrapped in breathing armor, muscle, metal, and molten script glowing under its skin. 4 arms. 2 eyes like moons, and a voice that hit low, like a subsonic wave designed to trigger fear in mammals. It spoke without language at first. Just a vibrating growl. Then the translator AI caught up. Too late to save anyone. Just in time for humanity to understand what it meant. Peace is not a right. It is a lie of the weak. The Lord stood. Behind it, 13 other lords towered, silent, armored in war trophies, bones of fallen kings, spinal cords worn like sashes. These weren't diplomats. These were apex predators. One of them reached for a rod, long, blunt, black, and jammed it into the back of the first human's neck. The man convulsed. Not dead. Still alive. The rod wasn't a weapon. It was a control spike. You could see his spine ripple as the nerves overloaded. Jaw tight. Teeth cracked under pressure. The Lord walked over. Earth sent its softest. Thinking words could tame us. Thinking mercy was an option. He grabbed the man by the chin, stared into his eyes, then forced his mouth open and dropped a writhing silver worm inside. The human choked. Coughed blood. Tried to scream, but the thing was already digging into his throat. His veins lit up. And then he stopped moving. The broadcast panned, slow and cruel, across the remaining 3. A woman with short hair and broken fingers. They'd been twisted backwards. She kept muttering something. The audio caught it. Did everything right. Followed every protocol. She was ignored. The second man had lost both eyes. Burnt out with microtorches. A lord behind him idly flipped one between its claws like a coin. The last, the youngest, still stared forward. Her lip trembled once. Then stopped. Another lord stepped into view, dragging a rusted monoblade behind him. Sparks skipped across the floor. The weapon wasn't for fighting. It was for theater. He lifted it and brought it down fast, not at a neck or chest. He carved a line across the second man's thigh. Skin split. Blood hit the floor like it was under pressure. The man didn't scream. He tried to recite the Oath Charter. He got halfway through the first line before a blade was rammed through his throat. The feed zoomed in on his face. Eyes gone. Tongue swelling. Blood pumping. He choked to death, trying to say peace. Across Ith, some people screamed. Others vomited. A few, the ones who had seen real war, just clenched their fists. Because this wasn't just murder. This was domination. A flex. A warning. The lords wanted Earth to know exactly what they were. And exactly what they thought of peace. The short-haired woman was next. 2 lords approached from either side. One grabbed her broken fingers and bent them further, until bone poked through skin. The other injected her with something green. Her mouth foamed. Her body jerked. But she didn't scream either. She was an old negotiator. Seen war zones. Walked through minefields to stop planetary slaughters. She stared at the camera, locked eyes with whoever was watching on the other side. Then she spat blood and said, "Send better." They cut her head off mid-sentence. The blade wasn't clean. It took 2 strikes. The feed didn't flinch. It lingered on her twitching corpse. The lords laughed. A low, echoing laughter that sounded like tectonic plates grinding against each other. Then all attention turned to the last one. She was young, thin, still had blood on her cheeks from someone else. Her restraints glowed white-hot, burning into her skin. She didn't blink, didn't look at the lords, just stared into the lens. When one of the creatures approached with a carving rod, she leaned forward, gave it her chest. Let them write their message there without making a sound. Earth's peace is death. They carved it slow, shallow, over the heart. She stayed silent the whole time. When they finished, the lords turned to the camera. This is your final piece, envoy. We reject it. Then they dragged the girl toward a pit. Out of it rose something huge. Not a beast. Not a machine. Something in between. A worm, armored in shattered hull plating, covered in grasping mouths, each dripping black bile. The last human was fed to it. Alive. Feet first. Her silence held until the end. The broadcast lasted 16 minutes, 48 seconds. It ended with a single phrase in hundreds of languages. Earth has been warned. The feed cut. Across the solar system, it left only stillness. Military bunkers shut down comms. Fleet carriers entered lockdown. Civilians wept. Analysts stuttered over what they'd seen, unsure if it was propaganda or prophecy. And in the heart of Luna, deep in the black-grayed vaults below Mare Tranquillitatis, a signal blinked red. Unmarked. Unspoken. No voice ordered it. No vote approved it. It had been waiting. Buried protocol. A response line hard-coded decades ago. Not for attack. Not for diplomacy. For something else. Something final. A door opened. Behind it, in a hangar choked with silence, stood a ship. Small. Sleek. Barely visible under stealth weave and heat masking. No name. Inside the cockpit, one figure. Male. Young. Beautiful. In the way a dagger is beautiful. Sharp. Thin. Still. Not armored. Not geared for war. Just wearing black. Everything on him was black. The boots, the jacket, the gloves. Matte. Lightless. Not for intimidation. For erasure. No name. No insignia. Only an authorization code, W0. One of the techs watching the feed whispered, "They're sending him." No one replied. There was no ceremony. No orders. No warning to the galactic lords. The ship lifted, silent as breath, and launched at speeds forbidden by treaty. No trajectory trace. No broadcast ping. Just one word etched into the AI flight path. Vaelta. And far behind, in the dark halls of Earth's Inner Defense Council, someone whispered a line that never made it into any official report. They executed diplomats. We sent silence back. But silence came with a blade. The ship hit Vaelta's upper atmosphere with no heat trail, no radar bounce, no comping. A ghost bullet from the void. It moved at relativistic speed, slowed only at the last second by tech that didn't officially exist. Landed without flame, noise, or tension. The world it touched had no reason to fear. Vaelta was the jewel of the lords. A planet-sized fortress. Guarded, armored, ringed in defense satellites and orbital spears. Invulnerable. Until now. The Warden stepped out. No team. No backup. No name. He wore black, not glossy black, not shining armor. Just matte fabric that swallowed light, tight to the frame of a body engineered by silence and war. Every part of him said, "This is not a soldier. This is something worse." The first security line was a checkpoint tower. 4 sentries in living armor, tied to the neural grid of the planetary defense net. Their suits glowed purple with command clearance. Their weapons could vaporize bone. They saw him coming and laughed. A human, on foot, alone. No visible weapons. No scanner ping. One raised his rifle, barked a challenge. He didn't answer. The next second, the guard's skull shattered inward. Not from a projectile, from a strike that moved faster than sound. One hand. Flat palm. Through helmet, bone, brain. The body dropped twitching. The Warden flowed between the next two before they could react. He spun, elbowed one in the throat, crushed the windpipe, and drove a boot through the other's sternum. Blood sprayed the tower walls like oil. The fourth managed to fire once before the Warden turned his head and moved. Just moved. A blur. A shadow breaking physics. The blast missed. The Warden didn't. He grabbed the rifle, twisted it, broke the sentry's fingers with it, then drove the shattered weapon barrel first into his throat. For dead in under 7 seconds. No one alerted command. He kept walking. The second line was tech, drones, sensors, auto-turrets. Skynet-level defense intelligence. It locked onto him. Lasers mapped his outline. Drones buzzed overhead. He stepped forward anyway. No weapon draw. No stealth crouch. Just calm walking. The drones fired. Nothing hit. They blinked out of the sky, not destroyed, but shut down, as if someone had flipped their off switch. A mist rolled off his body, invisible to most optics. A nanocloud of hunter seed, Earth's darkest tech. It didn't hack. It replaced. Wherever he stepped, enemy tech stopped working. Turrets screamed errors, then fell silent. One, desperate, fired anyway. He caught the bolt, threw it back. It tore a hole through the turret and the wall behind it. 30 minutes in, he reached the city perimeter. Vaelta Prime, a fortress city built into a monolithic mountain. Black stone and green fire. 30 layers deep. Impossible to invade. He walked straight to the outer gate, a wall 70 feet tall, 10 thick, carved with Lord script and blessed in the blood of extinct races. He placed one hand on it. Pushed. It folded in. Collapsed like tin under pressure. Inside, the panic started. Sirens. Guards running. Shields rising. Elite soldiers, the Paleborn, stormed into the courtyard. Born without emotion. Programmed for perfect obedience. Eyes like cameras. Veins replaced with coolant tubes. 70 of them. He walked into their middle. Didn't break stride. The Paleborn attacked. He danced between them like a whisper. One grabbed his arm. He tore it off at the socket and buried it in the face of another. Two lunged from behind. He jumped, twisted midi, cracked one skull with his knee, then spun and kicked the second through a wall. Plasma blades flicked on. White heat. He disarmed the first attacker, drove the weapon into his gut, then used his falling body as a shield from the next three. They fired anyway. Burned their own man to ash. Didn't matter. He was already behind them. He crushed the last four in under 12 seconds. A Titan mech came next. 70 tons of hate. Built to level cities. Piloted by a triple-brain unit. It aimed every gun at him. He sprinted toward it. The mech fired. Shells the size of coffins. He didn't dodge. He jumped into them. Kicked off one. Turned mid-air. Landed on the mecha's shoulder. Punched through the cockpit glass with a single fist. Ripped the pilot out, spine and all. Dropped him like trash. The mech collapsed sideways. Smoke billowed. The Warden didn't watch. He was already moving. By now, the Lords knew. They activated the palace lockdown. Summoned the Flamebound. 7 warriors bred in vats, trained in vacuum. Faster than thought. Deadlier than any human had the right to be. They found him at the inner gates. The leader stepped forward. 7 feet tall. Skin laced with gold. "You'll die slow," she said. He didn't respond. She lunged. He caught her by the neck and slammed her through the wall. The others attacked together. He met them in the dust. One lost his legs in the first second. The Warden drove his heel through the knee, spun, and kicked the head off his shoulders. Another lashed a whip. He caught it mid-snap and yanked the attacker into a steel column, spine first. The third stabbed him. He let it land. Twisted his body, trapped the blade in muscle, then leaned forward and whispered, "Your gods are dead." He tore the blade from his own body and used it to finish the last two. The last Flamebound, barely alive, tried to crawl away. He stepped on his back and kept walking. Final gate. The high chamber. 12 Lord Generals stood there. Ancient. Armored in agony. Weapons from extinct civilizations in their hands. At the back, Data. The Lord who spoke on the broadcast. Who killed Earth's diplomats. Now watching the Warden approach, pale and trembling. The generals attacked together, a telekinetic blast meant to turn bone to dust. He walked through it. Bleeding. Skin cracked. Didn't stop. Took a blade to the ribs. Grabbed the attacker by the jaw. Ripped it off. Blocked a psi hammer with one hand. Broke the wielder's wrist with the other. 2 tried to flank him. He ducked, drove their skulls into each other, then slammed their twitching bodies against the wall until they stopped moving. He didn't kill the last 2 immediately. He made sure Data watched. They begged. He crushed their windpipes slowly. Data tried to flee. He didn't get far. The Warden reached him. grabbed him by the collar, threw him against his throne hard enough to crack it. Data gasped. You're not a soldier." "No," the warden said. First word he'd spoken since landing. Then he jammed 2 fingers into Data's chest. Found the pulse. The Lord screamed, not from pain, but fear. First time in his life. "What are you?" The warden leaned close. "I'm what oath sends, when talking's done." He crushed the heart, dropped the body, and turned away. On his way out, he passed the throne again. Stopped. Took out a carving tool. Etched a message into the stone. No flourish. Just truth. This wasn't war. This was a response. He vanished from the planet 3 minutes later. Left only corpses. And silence. No message sent. No speech given. Only one fact left behind, repeated across galactic channels by terrified voices. They sent one man. And he didn't stop. They said the warden disappeared after Vaelta. Wrong. He kept walking. Across stars. Through sectors. No fanfare. No demands. Just the cold, precise unraveling of every Lord system tied to Data. 12 in total. 12 systems where the Lords ruled by torment. Where slaves bled into harvesters. Where cities were carved into prison labyrinths. Where peace meant silence at gunpoint. They were all marked. The warden had the list. He didn't ask who gave it. Didn't care. He just started with the closest. System 1, Eliza Reach. A mining system. 10 planets, all resource harvesters. Human laborers packed in sulfuric bunkers. Skin burned, lungs rotted, minds erased. The local overseer was named Calf. He wore 10 layers of ceremonial skin and watched entire generations of humans die to fuel lordships. He got the news from Vaelta 3 days too late. The warden arrived while he was praying. Eliza's moons lit up with alarms. Drones scrambled. Every orbital scanner picked up the breach. A ship that wasn't there suddenly was. Security tried to jam its signal. It didn't have one. The first destroyer to intercept was torn in half mid-sentence. No shots fired. Just gone. The warden landed on the mining moon E3, the biggest of the pits. 80,000 workers. 500 guards. He didn't walk this time. He ran. First guard saw only a blur before his chest exploded. The second tried to scream. The warden grabbed his jaw and ripped it downward, snapping the skull at the base. 10 more clustered at the gate. He jumped, twisted in the air, landed on shoulders, cracked vertebrae like twigs, then drove his fists into their faces until the ground turned red. Slaves didn't cheer. They didn't move. They didn't understand. They just stared as a human walked through Lord territory, killing everything with skin. They'd never seen one win before. Inside the main facility, Calf was already panicking. He sent kill drones. Didn't work. He flooded corridors with gas. Didn't work. He locked the bulkhead and prayed to old gods. Definitely didn't work. The warden arrived. Tore the vault door open with his bare hands. One shoulder dislocated from the pressure. He set it back in place mid-stride. Calf tried to crawl away. No spine left in him. The warden didn't say a word. Just broke every bone in his arms and left him twitching in the center of the prayer floor. Lit the place on fire and walked out. System 2, Nevek Cluster. Lord Research Labs. Where civilians were melted into data. Where consciousness was a commodity. Where war tech was tested on the helpless. The warden didn't come from orbit this time. He came up from the surface. Planted a virus seed 2 weeks earlier. Waited. Let it spread. Then rose from the vents while the scientists laughed over new death metrics. They died confused. The warden slaughtered them floor by floor. Even the ones begging. Especially them. At the heart of the lab was a room filled with children floating in tanks. He shattered every one. Carried the surviving 3 on his back as he walked through the wreckage. Left no building standing. System 3 through 6, broadcast kill zones. He didn't go quiet anymore. He made sure they saw. Every time he entered a world, he left the cameras running. Made sure the feeds reached the Lord's inner web. Gave no warning. Just brutal, sudden retribution. Lord commandants hung from broken towers. Slave chains melted into slag. Facilities detonated with their own reactor cores. His message was in action, not words. Your lies made this. Now choke on them. System 7, the Temple World of Harkers. Religious stronghold. Entire moon built to worship the lords. High priests devoured hearts to read fate. Ritual killings broadcast across satellites. He burned it all down. Started with the towers. Climbed them barehanded. Ripped down their idols. Used them as battering rams. The Warden didn't stop to argue theology. He broke open the altar and dragged the high prophet into the streets. Asked him one question. Did you know? The prophet cried, it wasn't us. It was Datar. He ordered it. The Warden crushed his skull. Then burned the scrolls. And the libraries. And the Sky Temple. Made sure no lie survived the fire. System 8 and 9, strike systems. These ones fought back. Smart systems. Prepped for retaliation. They had fleets. Legions. Countermeasures. Didn't help. The Warden walked into battle alone. Took out planetary shields by planting his blood into the control codes. His biosignature now was the virus. Ships rained fire on his last known location. Didn't matter. He moved faster than satellites. One general had a full armada in orbit. The Warden hit him during breakfast. Snapped his jaw. Slammed his face into the data table. Burned his bridge crew alive while forcing him to watch. No quick death. Just deliberate destruction. System 10, Crixus Hold. Children Factory. That's what they called it. Not for raising them. For building them. Artificial minds and organic shells. Grown in test wombs to become living weapons. Earth-born kids used as templates. Stolen genetics, rewritten souls. He didn't kill the gods here. He let the children do it. Tore open the cells. Dropped weapons into their hands. Looked each one in the eye. Then walked away. Their screams echoed across the hold for days. System 11 vanished. No data survived. Only one message reached Lord Networks. It was audio only. The Warden's voice. This one didn't get fire. This one got the dark. After that, only silence. Planets gone. Not destroyed, absent. Coordinates now lead to empty space. No one knows what he did. No one asks. System 12, Caltris Core. Lord Stronghold. Main data nexus. The place where the diplomatic murders were ordered, recorded, and buried. The Warden didn't sneak in. He dropped. From orbit. No ship. Just heat shield and gravity. Landed like an extinction event. Shattered the ground. Walked through the broken concrete with steam peeling off him. Guards shot him in the face. He kept walking. He burned the servers. Downloaded everything. Released the footage of Earth's diplomats dying, unarmed, peaceful, hopeful. The lords had called it a defensive incident. The footage showed laughing lords killing them for fun. It aired on 3,000 channels in under a minute. Every lord world froze. Civilian riots exploded. Subjugated races revolted. The Warden stood in the flame and uploaded one last line to the galaxy's open net. You weren't lied to. You just didn't care. Now it's coming to you. 12 systems. Gone. Not as an invasion. As a correction. Not a war. A reckoning. And then, silence again. No one saw him leave Caltris. No one tracked his trail. The Warden simply stopped. Or maybe moved on. Some say he's heading deeper. To the Council Worlds. Where the Real commands come from. Some say he died. Burned out from fury. But there's a message etched on the ruins of the Caltris core. Carved into molten steel with bare hands. This isn't justice. It's balance. And people are starting to believe it. Because things don't stay buried anymore. Not when he walks the stars. After Caltris burned, the Lords stopped calling him a rogue. Now they used another word. Anomaly. An unexplained force that shouldn't exist. A system breaker. A black event that bypasses all known laws of suppression. Their priest code algorithms issued a full class null threat alert. No more underestimating. No more ignorance. They pulled files from the Obsidian Vault. Activated 12 assets buried so deep the galaxy forgot them. The Lords called them the Quiet 12. 12 assassins. 12 killers bred for extinction-level events. Each of them undefeated. Each surgically altered, augmented, mutilated for one purpose, Clean, final elimination. They had no names, no home, no leash, only targets. And now, all 12 had just one, the Warden. Target track was initiated in the ruins of Caltris. He'd left no signature. But one of the 12, a null sensor named Gravine, found blood in the ash. One drop. She burned it into her cortex. Followed the psychic trail across 2 systems, through gravitational slipstreams and black site detritus. She never made it to the 3rd. In orbit over a dead world, her ship's lights went out. No sound. No explosion. Just silence. When the Lords checked the logs, they found 2 things. Gravine's scream. Her blood, scrawled across the cockpit wall. It said, "He was behind me." The rest didn't wait. They formed a wide net, fanned across the next 10 light-years. Laid traps. Created false distress signals. Set up detonator rings, hunter mines, quantum leash fields. The Warden walked into them anyway. On his terms. The second killer, Chainspike, died inside a trap he built himself. The Warden triggered the gravity snares. Waited until Chainspike dropped in to finish the kill. Then inverted the field with a device not even the Lords recognized. Crushed him into a meter-wide cube of meat and bone. Left him hanging in orbit, a warning to the rest. 3rd and 4th went as a pair. They tried to flank him on the ruined moon of Tarnis. One from the ridge, one from the dark. Full invisibility, sound-dampening tech, neural spike weapons designed to boil nerves in under a second. He let them get close. Then snapped the spine of the ridge assassin with a headbutt and ripped the second one's eyes out before they landed their first shot. He didn't finish them fast. Just broke them, piece by piece. The moon's rocks were stained black for days after. 5 through 8 were mercs, elite off-worlders. Paid in immortality, promised Lord-class upgrades if they returned with his body. They came in fast, drop pods, coordinated strikes, orbital coverage. The Warden didn't dodge. He led them into the carcass of a warship adrift over Ceres 9. Turned its broken power core into a beacon, then reversed its signal code mid-fight. The explosion took the pods out first. The mechs inside the ship never even realized the walls had started moving. He sealed them in with him. 20 minutes of silence. Then, one comm signal escaped. A whisper. Not from the Warden. From one of the killers, sobbing, saying, "He doesn't die. He wants you to try." Then static. Then nothing. 9 and 10 got clever. Waited for a refugee vessel. Took it over. Lured the Warden in by broadcasting a distress signal with Earth's pre-war codes. He boarded. Stepped into the medbay. 9 opened fire with a neutron slicer. Didn't do a thing. 10 stabbed him with a tri-venom fang, designed to rupture brain activity in under 3 seconds. Didn't slow him down. He killed them both with a pressure seal. Locked them in the airlock with no warning. Flushed them into vacuum. They choked on their own screams. 11 never made contact. Her name was Krosk. Part void, part human, completely erased from every public record. No voice. No soul print. Pure weapon. She watched the Warden from deep range. A sniper on a planet made of glass. 9 kilometers of distance. One perfect shot. She pulled the trigger. The round passed through air, cloud, light, then bent off course. Not deflected. Redirected. The Warden looked up at the ridge before she pulled the second shot. Smiled. Not with joy. With calculation. Like he wanted her to shoot. She pulled the second trigger anyway. It exploded in her hand. Her body was found 2 days later, inverted. From the inside out. Only one left. 12. The only one the Lords called by name. Melik. He'd killed species. Burned colonies to ash. Survived execution 6 times. Ran death cults in his downtime. Built from the bones of extinct gods. He didn't run. Didn't trap. He waited. Found a dead moon. Left a message carved in its crust. I'm here. You and me. No tricks. He wanted to fight the Warden. To prove something. He got his wish. The Warden arrived 12 hours later. No weapon. Just boots and fists. Melik laughed. Finally, he said. Someone who gets it. They fought in silence. No one recorded it. But the crater left behind was 4 kilometers wide. And only one walked away. After that, no more assassins. The Lords shut down the quiet program. Not from shame. From fear. Not fear of death. They'd seen death. They ruled through it. This was different. This was certainty. You send 12 perfect killers. And not one returns. You stop pretending you understand what you're facing. Whispers spread. Not just among the Lords. Among the broken, the enslaved, the forgotten. People who never had hope. Now they had something else. A silhouette. No name. No title. Just the shape of what vengeance looks like. Not clean. Not poetic. Just real. And among the ruins of the final fight, etched into the shell of a broken exosuit, a message appeared. Don't send killers after me. Send apologies. No one has, yet. Which means is still moving. Still burning. Still erasing the lie the galaxy was built on. One system at a time. The Warden didn't speak to diplomats. He killed the last ones. But the Lords had no more killers. No more war fleets. No more secure systems. They were losing grip on their empire, and every world that heard his name was tearing down their symbols, one monument at a time. So they tried something new. A treaty. They dressed it up in honor and apology. We regret the incident. We value interspecies harmony. We misunderstood Earth's intentions. They sent envoys from 9 factions. Clean suits. Stage smiles. Satellite-fed sincerity. They didn't come to negotiate. They came to contain. The Lords picked a neutral ground, Derek's Prime, an artificial planet designed for galactic diplomacy, floating between systems. No armies allowed. Peace zone. Sterile. Sanitized. Fake. They broadcast the invite across the star lanes, hoping he'd hear. He did. But not from their channel. A scavenger on the edge of the Tharn expanse found the message bouncing through old relay debris and repeated it on pirate frequencies. Someone else copied it onto a ship hull. A slave cell tattooed the coordinates on their skin before dying in rebellion. The invitation spread like a virus. Like a day. And eventually, he arrived. He didn't land at the port. Didn't ask for clearance. He dropped from orbit. No ship. Just atmosphere, friction, and his own weight. The Derek's shield systems fled, tried to redirect him. Failed. He hit the central platform at terminal velocity and stood up through the smoke. No armor. No weapons. Just the Warden, shirt torn, scars exposed, eyes hollow. The ground cracked under him. The Lord's envoys were already waiting. They flinched. But the head envoy, a tall silver-skinned thing with surgically permanent calm, raised a hand. Warden, he said, we request a ceasefire. The war is over. The Warden said nothing. We recognize the loss of Earth's delegates. An atrocity. Still nothing. We propose reparations. You may name them. The Warden finally looked at him. A blink. A breath. And then, you think I want payment? The envoy smiled again. A rehearsed gesture. No, of course not. We offer reconciliation. A future. The Warden's voice was low. Barely audible. You offer survival. The smile cracked. He was right. The Lords had run out of time. Their systems were crumbling. Revolts in every quadrant. Their lies exposed, their control eroding. Entire planets defecting. Commanders vanishing. And the Warden? He was their shadow. No path left untouched. No memory left safe. He wasn't a soldier anymore. He was a correction. And they were trying to bribe it. The envoy stepped forward. We built derricks for diplomacy. No weapons. No bloodshed. This platform is sacred. The Warden looked up. Around. At the polished spires, the quiet drones, the empty audience seats. Then back at the envoy. You want no bloodshed. A slow nod. Then leave. A pause. Now. The envoy hesitated. Looked to his aides. Back at the Warden. We have a protocol. He didn't finish. The Warden moved. One step. That's all. And the air cracked. Not sound. Pressure. Every sensor on derricks glitched for 0.3 seconds. And in that window, every drone shut down. Every comm link dropped. Every escape pod locked. The platform went dark. A shadow spread beneath the Warden's feet. His voice followed it. You called me here to chain me with courtesy. You offered me words where you gave my people death. You burned Earth's voice. Now hear mine. He opened his hand. No weapon, just a device. One button. He pressed it. From orbit, derricks flickered. Then trembled. Then fractured. Not with an explosion. With silence. Like the void had clenched its fist. One by one, the planet's structural rings collapsed. The artificial oceans inverted. Support towers cracked, then crumbled, then were gone. The whole planet folded inward, into itself. Into a black spire of twisted metal and shrieking gravity. Not a weapon. A message. Back in the wreckage, the Warden stood alone. Smoke rising around him. Envoys gone. Vaporized. Or scattered atoms in the diplomatic ether. He stepped over what used to be their table. Left nothing behind. Except the device. Still glowing. Still pulsing. On it, one message blinked in plain trade tongue. No treaties with liars. The Lords didn't respond. Because there was no one left to. The fall of derricks broke the last veil. After that, rebellions weren't whispered. They were screamed. The subjugated worlds didn't wait for orders. They took them. The races once chained in orbital factories now bombarded Lord citadels with the wreckage of their own chains. Planets that had been silent for centuries lit up with resistance fire. The Lords lost their empire in a month. Their homeworld? Nobody even knows where it was. Some say the Warden already found it. Others say he didn't need to. Because they destroyed themselves trying to stop him from reaching it. The Warden didn't claim credit. Didn't crown himself. Didn't declare a new era. He just walked on. Across the broken lanes. Through half-dead sectors. Sometimes ahead of the resistance. Sometimes behind. Always moving. Some say he found peace. Others say he became something else. Not man, not legend, just a force. Like time. Like gravity. Years later, in the orbit of a restored Earth colony, a scout ship found something floating. A chunk of derricks. Cracked metal. Still smoking. Scorched into it. With bare hands or something was. They spoke peace. Their system screamed. And beside it, in the corner, a single mark. Not a name. Not a title. Just a symbol. An Earth flag, torn through the middle. And stitched back together with wire. Not perfect. Not pretty. But still there. The end. Or maybe not. Because corrections don't end. They pause. Until someone lies loud enough again. Then they return.